Court Roadies. Thank you for stopping by. Well, today in the Portland, Oregon area, it is drizzly. Yes, drizzly with clouds moving across, gray, no blue sky. But I'm not complaining. I know I want to, but I'm not complaining because I have friends whose wells are going dry. So, yeah, I'm going to put up with the rain. In fact, I asked the guy who does a lot of the landscaping on this street, I asked him about turning on the irrigation this year, and he said, forget it. Not till we get a week of 7 days with no rain. That has not happened yet. But the flip side of that is how absolutely gorgeous everything is blooming and growing. It's just, I mean, one of the flowers that I used to nurture in a pot, mind you, it would not grow in the ground on the other side of the mountain, was a bleeding heart. But here, it's like this huge bush that's in the ground, and it's just throwing out hearts left and right. So I love that. I don't know if I've talked about this recently, but I'm wearing my patchwork threads sweatshirt, and I absolutely, when I want to be cozy in the sewing room and it's kind of wet and bleh, I put something on cozy. And that is Patchwork Threads out of Roanoke, Virginia. And it's a husband and wife team. He likes to silkscreen, and I'm thinking that I might need to have a t-shirt. I might have to get a t-shirt for the Sisters Outdoor Quilt Show, because the sweatshirt would be too heavy. But isn't that cute? Isn't that cute? I'll put the link in the description box. Well, for whatever reason, I have been on well, I know why I've been on a hyper-focused mode. It's because my girlfriend Cakers, she was, we were talking on the phone, and she was looking for a bag, and I knew a bag for her wool blocks. She has just started wool applique, and naturally she didn't just pick a little kit of an ornament or something. She like picked this big, 13-inch wool blocks and this big quilt of these barns, and I just knew I had the perfect bag for that, but I couldn't remember where I had put it. Did I already tell you this? My other girlfriend says when you start repeating yourself, you do this. Yeah. But I knew I had this perfect bag, and I just had to find it, and it took me a while to find it, but I did. I found it, but inside of it was stuffed the project that I showed you. Well, I think I put it on Instagram. Did I show it last video? I don't know. Anyhow, it was a project that I started working on in Tucson, and it was when I took a workshop through the Madeline School of the Arts. They have a campus up off of Minnesota. I think that's where it is. And then they have a campus in Santa Fe. Not like a campus, but they have a workshop that they run in Santa Fe, and then they have a workshop that they run in Tucson at the Tanca Verde Ranch, which is this kind of like dude ranch kind of, they have beautiful rooms, and it literally borders on the Saguaro National Forest, so that the last time I went and I shared a room with two friends, we literally looked out our room, the doors out to a patio that overlooked this entire national forest with all these saguaro cactuses. It was just absolutely stunning. And we were taking a Sue Spargo class. Yeah. I've been there twice, so I'm not sure which one I started this one, whether it was the previous one or this last one, you know. Yeah. Who am I? Anyhow, I know that it was started on during one of the classes with Sue Spargo in Tucson because she helped me. Yeah. I decided to make this bag. It's a spool sack. It's called a spool sack. But I didn't want to do it with this particular pattern. I wanted to create my own story. And Sue is really awesome about that. You know, if you have followed her through her progression in when she started at the beginning with wool and quilting, and then she started, you know, because in the very beginning she wasn't embellishing, but once she got that bug, oh my gosh, did she go crazy with that, and with the threads and the ribbons and all kinds of stuff. And one of the quilts that she had shared was about her life. She originally was from South Africa, and so it had a lot of motifs and animals and just design elements that were her story, and that was basically what that quilt was. And when I took this class, you know, as you guys have been around for a while know, I'm a pattern follower. I don't go out on the creative edge too much, but I do like to do my own thing once in a while. So I decided to take this project but create a story about my life in the Southwest. We have had so many wonderful adventures in the Southwest. Not only have we met fabulous people, we were able to connect up with G's uncle and aunt because they regularly go from back east to Arizona, and he has since passed away, but his wife, my husband's aunt, still has come out to Arizona. But there were so many fun connections and stories there where we camped, and I had never eaten oranges or grapefruits that had fallen off the tree on the ground, and I'm telling you, they are the sweetest tasting. Seeing the little javelinas, four-wheeling in the desert, it has so many great memories. And at one point we bought a little tiny home in Tucson, and we had a little community there that we just such good memories, so many wonderful things about it, that's the thing that is taking somewhat of an adjustment, is that you, and I'm sure some of you have had these same experiences, is that back in 2019, beginning of 2020, you know, we were like full bore trying to experience as much of life as we could. All these different things that we wanted to do, and you know, empty nesters, and just wanting to experience a lot. And then you meet all these fabulous people who are on these same journeys, just taking a different road, but you you pass each other and you connect. It's a blessing. But then COVID happens, and then your priorities change, and everything changes, and your choices change. And all of a sudden, your life is taking an entirely different journey than it was just 2-3 years ago. I have met so many people through this podcast video channel that have had the same experience. This country is on the move. And so it's not that people aren't important. It's just that life got so narrow that you literally don't have an opportunity to stay connected like you did 2-3 years ago. It's you miss people. You do miss them, and I miss in Tucson sitting around, and we had this group that was called the AA group. We met for happy hour. It was attitude adjustment, and it was fun to meet people from all around the country and just be in relationship with people that are not necessarily of your mindset, not necessarily of your religion, your politics, whatever it is. Whether you're single, whether you're married, whether you have grandchildren, whether you don't, it's a good thing to kind of mix it up in your life. And that was just such a fun time. Yeah. Am I babbling? Yeah, I'm babbling. But some of you like the babble, huh? Some of you say, get on with the stitching. Well, June is a big month for us. There are a lot of birthdays this month in our family for people who are still with us and people who are not. And this week is my mother's birthday. And I've been reminiscing a lot about her, because she was amazingly brave. I was telling G that when I think about it, that she and myself and my younger son, I know I've told you some of these stories before, went to Europe together without an itinerary. Not even one reservation. We had a plane ticket and a train ticket. And the plane took us from San Francisco, I think it was, to Paris. And when we landed in Paris, we hunted down a hotel to stay in. And it was like off the beaten path. And we used the metro. We never took taxis. We used public transportation. We never had a reservation. And we had a Eurail pass. And we'd spent 3 days in Paris, and then we looked at the train schedule and decided where we wanted to go. And then we got on the train, because the Eurail pass that we had, the three of us had, was that you could get on and off as many times as you wanted. You could go anywhere in Europe that you wanted to go. But we never had a reservation anywhere, so we would choose a place to go. And then when we landed, the train pulled into the train station, we'd go to, the train stations had these kiosks in them where there was a guy sitting there with a binder that had different hotels. And then we would pick a hotel. Sometimes we asked for a recommendation, and then we'd figure out how to get to that hotel. And then we'd walk around. We walked everywhere. If we weren't on the train, we were walking. One time we did take a boat ride down the Danube, but we met some amazing people. But here's the thing. My mom was in her 70s at that time, because I was at least 50 or older, and she had to walk with a cane. So there were some places that my son and I went, like up in a cathedral, like we'd hike up these skinny little stairs or something, that she couldn't do just because of her limitation of her knees. But she would wait down below. I have one picture of her where we're up on the Eiffel Tower, and I took a picture of her, and she's looking up at us. But how incredibly brave. And so when I'm feeling my most anxious or worried, I'm kind of channeling her, because, my gosh, really? Go to Europe with your daughter and your grandson without any reservations and go all over Europe for 3 weeks? Very brave. I hope I am that brave. Well, it's her birthday this week, so I've been thinking a lot about her. Okay, so back to this spool sack. How did I get off on this, huh? So I'm giving this pattern away, by the way. So anybody who's interested in making one, because I made one, I'm not making a second one. No reason for me to hang on to this absolutely wonderful pattern. Let's just say spool. Let's say spool. And then I'll enter you in for this pattern, and we'll mail it off to you. So be sure that when that name comes out, that you email me your mailing address. And I'll have my email in the description box. And I know, I forgot to, I didn't forget. I wrote the name of the winner of the wool skinny pillow book on the back of the paper that I gave to G, and he didn't see it. So at the end of this video, you'll see the winner of the skinny pillow book. And I'm sorry it took a couple weeks. But here is my sack, my spool sack. Here's the fabric in the back. I think this was, it might have been a Riley Blake theme fabric from a couple years ago. But yeah, so my spool has, you know, the biggest jackrabbits in the world are running around Arizona. And then there's the bee. This is a barrel cactus, and you know what was surprising to me is how easy it was, even though I hadn't been doing any what I call spargoing a lot in the last couple, 2-3 months. I was surprised at how quickly these different stitches came back to me, because I put bullion stitches here. Yeah, bullion stitches. Someone said, oh my gosh, that whole road is bullion stitches. Yes, it is. Then I did a drizzle stitch on the top of this barrel cactus. This fabric was given to me by a friend on the road. Here's oranges, and I used that kind of felty, soft kind of thread. But these all came from, you know, when you take a class with Sue Spargo, she brings a lot of product with her. So I got the ribbon, and I tacked that down, and then did some colonial knots, which I just recently learned how to do. and added some raindrops, and this is chain stitching around the sun. But here you get from Sue Spargo, you can get a loom off of her site, and I actually wove this. Sue helped me figure out how to weave this excuse me, swallow cactus, and then I used a piece of wool and I embellished the wool for the arms on there. And that's the other thing about Sue, is that she uses a layering technique where you layer fabrics and wool and stitching. And so when you use a piece of cotton fabric, like this is a piece of just printed cotton fabric, I actually did some chain stitching on top of this fabric to make it look like the rain falling. And I also did colonial knots on the design of this fabric. Yeah, so I'm very excited how, so this is, oh, and then in the pattern it showed how to make the handles, and I had this pretty ribbon that I wanted to use. And then inside were the inserts, and the inserts you can get, see, that fabric is so fabulous. The inserts you can get on Sue's site. So these will hold thread and projects. It's just, I'm quite proud of myself. I'm mostly proud of myself that I didn't give up on it. I forgot about it, but I didn't give up on it. And so now I have this fabulous spool sack that even if it never goes anywhere but hangs in here with a project in it, I'm going to feel quite proud. Yeah. So if you have any desire to try your hand at a spool sack, use the word spool. It is already June, and I decided my whole summer is like bum, 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 bum. So I decided to go ahead and make my pillowcase. So I've already made my June pillowcase, and I just love it. The fabric is the base fabric of the pillowcase is from So Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was So Yeah. But I had to make this one because my middle grandson, he's as smart as a whip. He is just as smart as a whip. And he's all about, as you would expect, a soon-to-be 5-year-old is all about the dinosaurs. But it's amazing because he knows how to pronounce all the names, and he knows the characteristics of the different dinosaurs and what they eat. And he's just, okay, my son always laughs at me when I say that his children are just extraordinary. What exceptional children, grandchildren I have. Don't we all feel that way about our grandchildren? But look at this. It's Christmas. Dino Christmas. Isn't that the cutest? So I know exactly which child in my life is going to be getting that one. I also started working on that. But I came to an adjustment. I tend to get real excited about something and then just jump in without thinking. And so I had chosen, as you all know, I had chosen Apple of My Eye. And thankfully, to one of you who left a comment. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you. I try to get through them all. I do eventually get through them all, but sometimes it takes me longer. And especially if there's a giveaway associated with it, the numbers are so much higher with the giveaways. But it was suggested that I flip the tops so that they looked more like spools than apple cores. And it's funny because I did it automatically. I didn't have to do it. So I unrolled, but here's the adjustment I had to make. Okay, so here's a block there. Isn't that pretty? So this is the Threads That Bind by Blackbird Design. And then I'm in the middle of this one. Here's, I tend to make two of the same, using the same colorway. I'm making this for myself, and I thought the pattern calls for twin size. And I thought to myself, I don't need a twin size quilt. This house is very interesting to me because on the other side of the mountain, the house I lived in previously, there was a lot of opportunity to hang quilts. And it might have been because G and I built that house, and I automatically, without thinking about it, created this perfect quilter's house. It might be that, but it seemed like I had a lot of places to hang quilts, and that doesn't exist here. And the one place that I can rotate quilts is in my entryway. Right when you walk in, I have a quilt hanger hanging up, and that's where I have the Chubby Chicks up right now, but I can rotate wall hanging size. So I decided to cut this quilt down, and instead of making it 5 by 6, which ends up being a twin size, I'm going to make it, I think what will fit in my rack is 4 by 4. But I'm going to check it. I'm going to measure it because I want to hang it. It's my one place that I get to rotate different quilts, and so I want it to be of that specific design. Yeah, so that's where my mind is at right now. I think that I emptied a project box this week, and so now I get to put this new one into the project box. Yeah. Well, I think that's all I have right now. Thank you for stopping by. Pay attention at the end to the winner of the Little Skinny Pillow book. And we'll see you next time around. I really appreciate that you've stopped by, and leave me some comments. Remember Spool if you are interested in the Spool Sack. And other than that, I think that's a wrap. You take care. Love you guys.